I'm gonna try and do this as speedily as I can. Match number one for Dynamite tonight is their big uh, 5-year anniversary show. Not
Mm-hmm.
their 5th anniversary, their 5-year anniversary. Just like WrestleMania 25 wasn't the 25th anniversary, it was the 24th anniversary. It was the 25th show. There's a difference. People need to learn it. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, this was their big anniversary show of 5 years on the air. They opened up with the hot opener with the international title, Ricochet challenging Will Ospreay for the belts. I'll go over the good parts in it. I'm just going to run down the card as is. You'll get the major points out there, and then we'll go back and talk a little bit about it. So the winner initially was a no contest. There was a double pin after Ricochet poison Ronald Ospreay, but he came back with like one of those exhausted, last breath hidden blades, and they fell on top of each other. They did the double pin thing, which initially was ruled as a draw by the referee, but both participants protested, so they got word back from the back that Tony Khan said that the match should continue. They went out for another 60, 90 seconds, something like that. After it was restarted, another hidden blade, and it looked like Ospreay was going to retain. And then Konosuke Takeshita comes out from the back after having earlier. I forgot about the setup to this. Don Callis was there with Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle was wishing Ospreay good luck, and he's like, "Yeah, oh, good luck, but we gotta go." So they weren't going to be there for the match, and as Ospreay kind of leaves, like, oh, okay, well, all right, bye. You see Takeshita kind of like giving him the side eye.
Yeah.
That's the last shot of it. So I should have said that, but that sets up Takeshita coming in, and they never really said what it was. I imagine that officially it's a no contest, but technically, if you're going by the rules, even though he did attack both of them, he attacked Ospreay, and then the bell rang. So that would indicate that that was the decision. So Ricochet technically wins by DQ. Would be my interpretation of it. I'm sure in the record books they'll probably tweak it because kayfabe is a thing, and they'll say it's a no contest or whatever. But after the bell, ding 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 ding, he did then attack Ricochet.
Okay, so Ospreay would win by DQ.
Oh, Ospreay, you're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct.
But yes, but yeah,
I
your
misspoke,
interpretation.
but
Yeah. Okay, so your interpretation is correct, other than the misspeaking.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, Ospreay wins by DQ. That's what I thought
Ospreay
too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, that's how it normally would go. I'm sure, like I said, kayfabe is still a thing when they want it to be, so they'll probably like record it as a no contest, even though I would only really buy that if the bell sounded after he attacked both of them. And even then, that's a little bit of a stretch, but at least that's kind of, regardless. Match gets a thumbs up for me. We'll go back to it. Segment number one, non-wrestling segment number one. Renee interviews Mercedes Moné with Camille. Moné does this kind of funny thing where she presents a video package of all of Dynamite's best moments.
Yeah.
And it's just all footage of her. And that's that's kind of fun, honestly. MVP then comes in and like talks her up a little bit, kind of like he did with Swerve talked up Swerve last week, gives her a business card. So this new Hurt Business / syndicate might have the Monet Corporation attached to it. I mean, could be the funding or whatever. I don't know.
I would deal with her a lot better if somebody else talked.
I mean, MVP is great at that,
and he is. Yeah,
and frankly, like, it would distinguish it from its previous iteration because it would have women in it. Cool. Which is cool. Sure. Segment number 2. This was after the commercial. Renee then interviews the Guns. I still don't know why they don't call themselves the Gun Show or something like that.
Yeah, I don't like Bang Bang Gang at all.
I like Bang Bang Gang, but I don't like the Guns. It's just dumb. It's plain. It's simple. It doesn't indicate any kind of personality. Like they were the Gun Club with their dad, and I know that once they turned heel, that they wanted to distance themselves from their dad. So a name change may have been necessary, but just the Guns is lame.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Now,
And
interjecting just a little bit with a question here, okay? Because they call them the Bang Bang Gang exclusively now. There is no Bullet Club Gold anymore. That's over. But we still have Forbidden Door. There's still AEW obviously having a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Was there ever any kind of report as to why they could not call them Bullet Club Gold anymore?
I don't think it was a matter of they couldn't. I mean, I think it was just they started calling them that, and people it just caught on, and so they just decided to go with the thing that the fans liked more. Like
Okay,
I
that's
didn't really
fair.
see many Bullet Club Gold signs, but I saw some
Yeah.
Bang Bang Gang signs.
Oh yeah.
So I think they probably just went with what was popular and what they could own exclusively, because they
Yeah.
probably had to
Yeah.
share rights with Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah,
But
that's
Bang
true.
Bang Gang can be AEW exclusive rights. So
Yeah.
that would be my suspicion.
Fair. Okay.
But yeah, they were getting interviewed by Renee. Their interview wasn't really anything special. It was just to set up Hangman and Page, take them out from behind with the chair. Which, if you're a heel, especially Adam Page, who is not a heel but is a heel.
He's not a heel.
He's not a heel, but he doesn't
He's
have friends
definitely doing the
anymore.
heel thing. Yeah.
And all the people that he's facing have friends, so he's got to equalize somehow. So it's showing, once again, the whole thing that I think of is baby faces are dumb, heels are smart. Like,
Yeah.
baby faces are just lucky in the end, or just better in the end. But all the storyline stuff that goes into a baby face versus heel storyline, the heels have to be smarter to get the one up on the baby face constantly.
Yeah.
Until virtue wins out in the end for its own sake.
Right.
So, like I always say, yeah, baby faces are stupid and heels are super smart.
Yeah, that's
unless the gimmick is that they're dumb heels, which is rare enough that it makes it noteworthy. It's the exception that proves the rule kind of deal. But yeah, so Hangman doesn't have friends, so he has to take out the Guns before his match later on with Juice Robinson to ensure that they don't get involved. Because even though those guys are kind of technically baby faces, that they're still the Bang Bang Gang. They'll still get involved.
Oh yeah, they're still gonna do. They're still gonna do.
They're still gonna do the thing. They're gonna do the thing. So Hangman, smart.
Yeah, definitely.
Segment number 3 was in the ring, TV time with the Learning Tree. Jericho brags about his role in the creation of AEW, which, is true. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
Says that he wants to be the Nueve after headlining Arena Mexico and then pinning Mark Briscoe in that match last week. So he officially makes his verbal challenge for the ROH World Title. Briscoe then comes out and he's like, "Yeah, you're a spade is a spade. You're a legend, but I'm gonna beat you." And then Jericho says that Mark isn't as good as Jay, and we'll get to that later. Mark tags him real quick, but everybody else is waved off, which is good.
Yeah.
I like the drawing of that out. But he's like, okay, we'll handle this later. Segment number 4 was a pre-tape promo with Darby Allin. He's sitting on a car and he's talking about basically standing up for himself because look at him. Like he's always been that 5'10", 170 pound, guy that everybody thought they could pick on, and he learned to stand up for himself. Good for him. So he issues an open challenge for Wrestle Dream. Hey, you want to, people are having trouble believing in me, and heck, I'm having trouble believing in myself. So you know what? We're going to fix both of those problems with an open challenge at Wrestle Dream, and I'll show you who I am.
Okay. Wait, interject right here.
Sure.
Have a little fun with this segment. Who is it? Who's going to come out at Wrestle Dream and be the
I'll tell
challenge?
You.
Who is it?
I'll tell you, because we find out later that week.
Oh, do we?
You are not caught up on Collision, sir.
I am not, sir.
No, we'll find out, and you,
Okay.
I guarantee, will like who it is.
Okay. Cool.
Guarantee you.
Cool. All right.
Hangman Page versus Juice Robinson's match number 2. Starts out a brawl. I'm convinced that they patterned parts of this match from the WrestleMania 13 match with Brett and Austin, because like there are parts like, because they don't, I mean, that match starts out in the ring, but it quickly goes to the outside. They brawl all up and down. This one didn't start in the ring. They started fighting on the ramp, but they go all up into the fans and everything. And they set stuff up outside. It doesn't ape the most famous part with the double turn, but there are parts that I'm pretty sure they took from that, some inspiration from that, and I will never fault. That's one of my favorite matches of all time. So I will always give it up for that. This match gets a thumbs up. Page hits the Deadeye and pins Juice after hitting a low blow unseen by the referee. I don't think he needed to do it. Like, there was nothing that said that he was in danger of losing, really. I think he was just like, I'm done with this. Let's just get it over with. That kind of thing. Afterwards, Hangman tries to, he used the leather strap that Juice brought from last week's Lumberjack match. He brought that to the ring and tried to use it earlier, but was stopped before he could get DQ'd by doing it. And he tried to hang Juice over the top rope with it again. And then Switchblade Jay White comes from out of nowhere and makes his glorious return, and it just beats the crap out of him.
Oh yeah.
And
I was happy to see Jay White.
They go back out into. I think that's why they took care of the guns, so that this return would be more impactful and would be a surprise. So they go back out into the audience where they had set up a table but hadn't gone through it, and then they go through Chekhov's table. And Jay White puts him through it. I thought it was great. Segment number 5, Renee interviews scapegoat Jack Perry as he's coming in off his bus. Nobody steals the bus. I'm waiting on it. But he comes off the bus, and Renee asks him how, it doesn't matter what she asks him, because they immediately get interrupted, because this is AEW and nobody can do an interview without getting interrupted. And but it's Shibata, so I don't care. It's Katsuyori Shibata. Challenges for a TNT title match, and Perry initially says, I'll think about it. He goes away. Shibata goes back to his phone to type something out, and before he can get to do that, Perry blindsides him, throws him against the bus, and then accepts the challenge. Yeah. Segment number 6, backstage promo with Bryan Danielson. It's just I'm sure it was live, but it's not an interview segment. It's just a promo. He says, F John Moxley, which echoes the online promo that he cut last week.
Yeah.
And he lays down the match. He kind of just runs down the stipulation for the main event tonight, where it's title for title with him and Okada, but because of the Continental Classic, mostly sticking to the 20 minute time limit. If the match goes past 20 minutes, then the Continental title is no longer on the line, which I actually thought was kind of cool. I actually dug that.
Yeah, I like the way they did that. Katie looked at me like real confused when they announced it, and I explained it to her, and she accepted it. I don't know if the average casual fan would like it. I liked it. Yeah. I like the way they did it. So.
Chatter online that I saw on my Twitter timeline was mixed, but I liked it. Okay. Match number 3, Dr. Britt Baker returns. They were in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
so
Pittsburgh.
It was a huge homecoming for her. They love her. They love her as much as they love Kurt Angle in Pittsburgh, which is mind-boggling to think.
Yeah, it is.
It's Kurt freaking Angle, but like, they absolutely love and adore Britt. Keep having her win in Pittsburgh. Do the thing that WWE for so long refused to do. But yeah, she had a good match with Serena Deeb. Baker won with the lockjaw. There was no funny business or anything like that. It was good. It was great. Thumbs up. Match number 4 was Private Party versus Iron Savages. This was a glorified squash match, so it doesn't get a rating from me because it was mostly an angle. But within about 2 minutes, Private Party hits Gin and Juice, gets the win. Afterwards, Zay gets on the mic and challenges the Young Bucks for a shot at the World Tag Team Championship. And the Bucks actually come out in person on the stage and say, hey, you know what? We have a longer overrun tonight. Maybe we should do this. So they come down like halfway down the ramp. It's like, you know what? We're not going to waste one of our limited wrestling dates on Pittsburgh, classic heel stuff. And that served as a kind of a distraction. Scapegoat came back out, and he's just like, he beat the crap out of them, and allowed the Young Bucks to come in. Yeah, but then Shibata came back to even things out, and Christopher Daniels finally makes his way to the stage and makes a trios match for Rampage. So we actually on the week I decided not to cover Rampage, we actually get big stars with storyline ramifications on Rampage.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah.
For the record, that trios match, I mean, I looked up the results. The baby faces won that. So Shibata and Private Party beat the Young Bucks and Jack Perry, and Private Party beat them in the same exact manner. They were gonna go for the TK driver, but they got intercepted, and the victory roll, the same exact way that they first beat them on that second episode of Dynamite. So we're doing callbacks to the early stuff, which is I appreciate. Segment number 7, Renee interviews MVP, who was already out there. I don't know why she just didn't do it then, but whatever. He says he has an announcement. Prince Nana comes to interrupt, and he's like, hey, you got in my face. People keep forgetting that I was a wrestler too. So MVP says, well, you know what? That sounds like a complaint, and that's not really my department. Allow me to introduce the head of my complaints department. The camera pans over, and it's Shelton Benjamin. Knew he was coming. Big fan of it. We find out later on via Twitter, and I think I saw it being reported by Fightful that Lashley definitely signed the deal as well. So you're getting the whole thing minus Cedric. So yeah, it's great. Seeing Shelty be in a suit is always good too. Right. Match number 5, double title match. Your main event: Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada versus World Champion Bryan Danielson. Danielson eventually, after about a half an hour or so, picks up the pinfall with, of all things, a backslide after the Blackpool Combat Club, or whatever they're calling themselves now. I'm going to call them that until such time as they give themselves a new name. They come out on the stage, and they just kind of stand there, but Okada's distracted enough that he gets backslid by Danielson. After that, the BCC, restrains Danielson in the ring, and Mox gets on the horn and on the mic, and he says he's fighting for something bigger than himself because he's going to do what others can't. It makes you think that there's somebody else pulling strings somewhere. Then Wheeler Yuta comes back out, makes the save, and chases off the BCC with a hammer, presumably the same hammer that they injured Brother Zay's hand with a couple weeks back. They come back when Danielson attacks Mox, who didn't leave the ring. But Claudio notably doesn't attack Yuta. Yuta then challenges Pac and Claudio to a tag match along with Danielson at next week's Dynamite, which they're giving the title of Title Tuesday, even though it doesn't really seem like too many championships are on the line as of yet. It's weird name, but whatever. As far as my ups and downs go, they're not ups and downs, Simon. I'm not stealing your gimmick. I just had that as shorthand on my notes. Okay. Right. So first, positive thing, the international title match was stellar. Very good. Yeah. Fantastic. Ricochet, since coming to AEW, is wrestling like he has something to prove. Like he's getting really gritty in there. Like he's using more like strength-based moves. He's really, really laying it in. Like I'm sure he's not wrestling snug, but his stuff looks like it hits harder than I don't think I've ever seen him hit that hard. Like he's laying stuff in, and they were doing this tit for tat thing. Anything you can do, I can do better. Like it was really good. Like so, you when you measure that up against Osprey's 1 hour match with MJF, like even though they cut a really good pace for an insane amount of time, you still believe that this match, which was about 20 minutes or so, with against Ricochet, you still believe that Osprey still could have been beat because of how hard Ricochet seemed to be leaning into it. So, like, I mean, what do they say in the fight game? And all it takes is one lucky shot, right? So
Right.
like you apply that to wrestling, that psychology to wrestling, and like if he's laying it in, like it's believable that even though we've seen him last longer, like anybody can get beat. So I thought that match was fantastic. Not like a huge fan of the ending, but it gets Takeshita in there, and that
Mhm.
triple threat match at Wrestle Dream is gonna bang.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
I really liked Hangman versus Juice. Like I felt like the discourse online was kind of underselling it. I thought it was really intense for something that was not super well built up. That's just starting. I loved the Jay White comeback. I loved how I thought they had really good chemistry. I, I loved the graphic. Somebody on Twitter, I need to start bookmarking these so that I can give people's handles the proper credit for it. But they posted the graphics of them, and Hangman's all like, "Arr!" and Juice is all like, "Hey!" And it looked like somebody said it looked like Sam the Eagle versus Animal puppets, and it's like that's perfect.
It
That's
is.
absolutely that's 100% accurate. But yeah, that match was great. I thought that people were kind of underselling it. Like you go back and look at that, like everything makes sense. I like that they're adding this new semi-cerebral aspects to Page's character now that he has to kind of think about being the ultimate lone wolf kind of deal where nobody likes him.
Right.
He has to take care of things in order to even things out and stuff like that. Whereas if he was a babyface going against Bang Bang, do you really think he'd be taking the guns out before the match?
Right.
No,
No.
he'd be a stupid babyface.
Yeah.
like, you
Exactly.
know, um, uh, not a big fan of the TV time. Um,
No.
uh, Now I know last week I said that there is room for true villainy in wrestling, and there is, and I stand by that. There is still such a thing as too soon, though, and
Hmm.
I thought it was still too soon. Like, give it another year at least.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't like that at
I,
all.
I Jay's death still, it's still kind of raw. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of invoking Jay, but if they are gonna do it, you, oh man, you better have Mark win.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. If you're gonna
you
do this,
better
Mark,
have
better
Briscoe
and
win.
decisively.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I feel like you could have. I felt like this build didn't need it. Like if you wanted to make it personal, like just have him beat him in another tag match or something.
yeah,
Kind of get see if you can get in Mark Briscoe's head, you know, and have it actually work. Like nobody can get in Mark Briscoe's head. So having some, much like Gunther, it's like nobody gets in his head. So to see it actually happen is interesting because you don't see that.
right.
So I feel like something similar would have there were different ways that you could get there. And I it really felt kind of skeeved out about invoking Jay's name, like even a year after his death. I don't really like it.
Yeah,
It just it rubs me the wrong way.
yeah.
Um, that being said, the storytelling in the main event was fantastic.
Hmm.
Switching gears, you know, Okada really leaned into the fact that all I gotta do is wait it out 20 minutes, and then I can win a title and not have to lose. Like, so he was taking it slow. He was going to the ropes and breaking things up, really, really slowing it down and avoiding Brian for as much as he could. And then as soon as that 20 minutes elapsed, he poured it on.
Yeah,
It was perfect psychology. And then it was fantastic. I'm not a fan of backslides. I kind of hate backslides. I think they're silly and dumb, but they don't usually win a match. So to see it actually win a match for once is novel. So even that I can't really hate on too much.
Right.
But yeah, overall, Dynamite was good.
Heck yeah.
Time to tag in.